What if I told you zombies are real?
I just wanna be a boss, but the bullshit throwing me off. I turn my headphones up and get lost and I'm gone.
Welcome to this episode of Beast vs. Zombie. My name is Dominique Muhammad. Today we have my friend Justyce on the show. Justyce is a cancer survivor, has overcome lymphoma similar to me. So share us a little bit about yourself before we get into the questions with the show.
So my name is Justyce. I am now 27. I was diagnosed with Hodgkins Lymphoma at 24, and so far I've been on a straight and narrow path of good health. So hopefully it continues to stay that way, and I'm just happy to be here and share. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for coming.
Of course.
So you were initially diagnosed with Hodgkins lymphoma.
Mm-hmm.
Same with me. And so what was your reaction to being originally diagnosed? How did you respond to that?
Goodness. It was terrible. It was actually a complete surprise. I was in a car accident. Long story short, I was in a car accident and didn't recover as quickly as possible, as I should have. Was doing chiropractic care, massage therapy, physical therapy, and my back was just in unbearable pain. And being an athlete my whole life, I was like, something is wrong. So we went to a neurologist to see if I had nerve damage, what was going on.
Yeah.
And I'm shaking because just bringing me back to it. But he was like, I'm going to give you some steroid injections for the pain. And I'm like, well, okay, I need some relief.
Right.
But no, you can't even tell me what's wrong with my back. I was having back spasms to the point where I couldn't move, I couldn't get off the ground.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, this isn't normal. Yes, I need something to relieve the pain, but you're not telling me why you're going to give me some steroids. I don't even take Tylenol when I have a headache, and you're about to give me a steroid. So I had to advocate for myself and basically force them to give me a scan. I don't remember if it was an MRI or a CAT scan at the time, but we finally got one. And I get the dreaded phone call a couple days later. Your back pain is secondary to what we found. You have multiple tumors throughout your body. And I was like, excuse me, what?
Oh, wow, yeah.
My back pain, I can't even walk comfortably. I can't get up out of certain positions. And now you're saying I have tumors? I didn't even know what that meant at the time. And he was like, well, it's most likely cancer. Obviously, they can't confirm that until you do a biopsy and all of the things. But I was like, this is a joke. Ashton Kutcher's about to come up. I'm being punked. I did not believe it. And so when we did the biopsy, whatever, went to a couple doctors. And actually, before I went to the doctors, I sat with that information for a week or so. And my primary care doctor at the time, she was like, it's unofficially cancer, but it's cancer.
Yeah.
And I was like, what am I supposed to do with that information? She was like, well, you need to tell your family. And I was like, how?
Yeah.
How am I supposed to tell my mom, my dad, my loved ones that I have cancer? That's a bad word in my household. In my mind, that's a bad word.
Right, in the world.
Yes, for everyone. How am I supposed to say that? So I sat with the information for a minute before I could even say it out loud. Even when I told my mom, I vividly remember telling my mom, because she thought I was on the phone with the doctors about my back from the car accident.
Right.
And so I took the call outside. I came inside. She's like, so what they say, what's wrong with your back? And I just sat there in silence because how was I supposed to say I have cancer? And I actually voice recorded the conversation. And going back to it, it is hard to listen to. It just makes my body, it honestly brings back some of the pain I had, sympathy pain or something. I don't really know what the mental, but it was a nightmare, just plain and simple, a nightmare. Nothing was real. I didn't believe it.
Right.
you could slap me and the reality of it wasn't there until probably I started treatment. And then I told like the world, as in social media. That's when it like really became, I guess this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
This is what I have.
Man, that's crazy. Like, I know for me, when I first got it, I didn't believe it.
Oh, no.
We're both very healthy.
Young.
Right? Like, we're athletes. I was 20 when I was first diagnosed. And, right, it takes a while. Like, the process of, like, actually diagnosing you takes a while. Like, right? Because, man, what you had was way crazier. I just had, like, a lymph node swollen in my neck. And it was just swollen out. And I thought I was kind of in a similar situation as you. I had gotten in a car accident, and I was still going to my chiropractor. And I told my chiropractor, hey, I have a knot in my neck. Like, I need you to rub it out, right? I just thought it was just a knot in my neck. And he tried to do, and he was good. Like, I liked going to him. He was good. He would keep my body, like, feeling right. And he was like, I can't roll this out. I can't get this out. You need to see a doctor. Oh, and at the time, I was still in Vegas, but my healthcare was still here in Oregon. And I came back, went to urgent care. The doctor immediately knew. He, like you say, he couldn't diagnose me, but he was like, yeah, you have cancer. And we were kind of like, is he, right? Like, but I mean, he was definitely valid. He definitely was very confident. Like, I can't tell you this is what it is, but like unofficially, like you have cancer. And you get PET scan, and then so like I'm taking off for Christmas. I got a biopsy done like as fast as possible, and then you get it back in a couple weeks, and you're just waiting. You and your whole family are basically just waiting to get some results. And he's always like, yeah, you have cancer, right? So that was pretty crazy. Like, terrible. It's still crazy to think. Like, you don't think you get it till you get it, I guess. Really?
It's not possible until it happens to you.
Until it happens. Because, like I said, we're both very healthy. We're athletes.
Young.
Running around all the time. Like, so, yeah, that's crazy. So, like, how did your family respond to your news? And, like, the people that you cared about?
Oh, goodness. I mean, it was hard for everyone. Very scary. I think that's probably the biggest thing. I mean, they were positive, and very supportive, very thankful for that, but scared because cancer isn't a thing that should happen to anyone, but especially someone so young. Like, I was in school. That was the last thing that we would ever think to happen. So it was just like a shock of fear. And, but they were, I mean, I don't know. I kind of say that I like blacked out during the whole process, very distant from it because of everything that was going on and just trying to survive, live, make it through each day. But I'm sure like they were really strong in my view, but I'm sure it was tough. It was hard for everyone. And like to hear their perspective now that I'm in a better spot, I'm like, oh wow, like we all went through something. It wasn't just me. We were all going through crazy things at that moment.
Yeah.
So, and we're in the midst of the pandemic.
Right.
So that was just even worse because we couldn't, like we were talking earlier, how you had your friends as support or they were hanging out with you to be there. Like we were isolated. Yeah. And that made it even harder, I think, because in my head, when I got that diagnosis, even though Hodgkins is curable or whatever you want to call it, treatable, the word cancer that's my deathbed. So I'm in COVID or we're in the pandemic and you're saying I have this disease that's might knock me out and I can't be with my loved ones. Yeah. Oh, Lord.
It's pretty crazy timing. That is wild.
Terrible.
Yeah, like I was telling you earlier, like one of the craziest things was like during my transplant during COVID, right? It was only my mom and I. And 3 years prior to that, I I had a transplant, and right, all my friends, all my family could all come and kick it with me, and like you could feel the support, right? I'm like, you know, you get a transplant, they kill all your cells in your body, and you just have like really low energy. I wasn't really like feeling bad or anything, but look, right, when you have your friends and your people come and see you in those periods of time, like you feel that, opposed to like, right, I'm on FaceTime instead, right, and like I'm just in the hospital with my mom and I, and you know, there's only so much energy her and I could bring, you know, in that situation, opposed to like all my friends and family. You know, even like at some points, the first time I had friends and family come in town, right, or they're just like passing through, and they were able to come visit me in like a hard spot for me. So that was super important. What was the diagnosis, and what stage were you at when they found you had cancer?
So I think, see, this is where I need my mom in here, because I really like, I don't know what happened to my, well, a lot of things happened to my mind. I was also concussed in the car accident.
Oh,
so
yeah, okay, wow.
there was a lot of things going on. But I was Hodgkins Lymphoma stage 3B, I believe.
Okay, yeah.
But I couldn't really tell you exactly what that means. I know that everything was above my diaphragm.
Above your diaphragm.
And so I think if it was below, that would have been stage 4 or
Yep.
next, whatever the next stage is. So stage 3B, I believe.
Okay, yeah, because like I was stage 4 because I had something below my diaphragm, right? Yeah. So that's crazy. And then, so when you were diagnosed, for me, it was like I had a 70% chance to be cured based off of the diagnosis.
I don't even know my numbers.
Okay, yeah, and then, but I was actually the 30. I didn't, and do you remember the first treatment, the first chemo treatment you had to do?
Terrible.
Yeah.
Hated it.
It was pretty crazy.
I mean, how I coped with it, which probably isn't, I don't know if it's healthy or not, but I would, like, people are like, oh, I'm going to do, like, crafts and whatever. One, I didn't have much energy, but besides when they would come and check my name, whatever, I'm asleep the whole time because I couldn't mentally handle it. Like, I wanted to get as far away from that place as possible. So as soon as the doctors would leave, try and go back to sleep. Yeah. Because, like, my mom, like, my parents were able to switch every other treatment. Okay. But we had to fight because it was during the pandemic. We had to fight to get them in, like, again, advocate, like, I need somebody in there because at the point in my life, in that moment, I couldn't comprehend any of what the doctors were saying by myself. Right. So to have someone in there with me was vital.
Yeah. I agree.
But for 90% of the time, I mean, I can remember like bits and pieces of it, but I tried to knock out. Like, I didn't want to be there. So I went into a altered reality, like within my dreams. I tried to escape, I guess.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. I think for me during my treatments and everything, like my escape was like trying to be normal. And like I stopped lifting weights, but I still was able to like play basketball like at a very low level. Like I'd go to 24 and play like 1 or 2 games and be done. Wow. You know, but like I was still out there, impressive. Like getting those games.
I don't know if I could have done that.
And I know there's some people that like hooped with me, and like I had cancer, and like you know I was getting busy.
Literally, but, inspiring.
Yeah, but that was what kept me, like just being able to still work out. But the treatments were hard. Like I know after like. The day of was, you're kind of like on steroids, so you're kind of like, okay, but then like the next day and the second and third day, like you're really feeling it. Like, what was your experience, like on how you responded to the treatments?
I think, so the first, it was weird. I would not have energy, like I would, oh my gosh, I felt like a sloth. But then I think like the steroids would stay in me for like the next day, because the next day, like I remember it was weird, but kind of like how you went in I don't run. I used to be an athlete. I don't do much anymore.
Yeah.
But I like went and ran a mile.
Right.
And my mom's like, you just,
Yeah.
like, what are you doing? But like, I think it was some type of normalcy or like really thinking about it. I'm like, I need to try and do something. There wasn't much I could do, but I think like the first day I would have a little bit of energy. Next day, not so much. Then I would feel real low.
Yeah.
And then I would get some type of normalcy, like, okay, a little bit more energy back, which wasn't a lot, especially like compared to now, but my normal energy for then, for being sick. But then a couple more days later, I had to start over again.
Yeah.
And it was just an endless cycle, like mentally messed me up because you would know that you would have a couple bad days. Then you'd have, oh, I think I'm good. Like, I'm feeling great. And then you got to go back.
Gotta restart
like,
again.
Oh, my gosh. Even driving past the hospital, I'm like, now, driving past it, I want to go the complete opposite way because the trauma that
it's
I
traumatizing.
Yes, like, terrible. Oh, my God. And I remember, so the first, they were only going to let me have my mom in the first treatment. So the second treatment, I'm terrified. Like, I can't do this by myself.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Right.
Like, no, no one should have to do it by themselves or at all. But I remember like hysterically crying in the elevator. Well, I held it together for the most part. I tried to be as strong as possible because when I showed my weakness,
Everybody
I could see it.
that.
Yeah, I could see it on them, and I felt like I needed to be.
That's not what I need.
Yeah, I needed to be strong so you guys could be strong. So that was like really hard and kind of a burden, but I'm thankful for it, I guess, just because, I don't know, it's weird. But I remember that second treatment, I was like, And so thankfully we, again, I advocated for myself and was able to have my parents in there.
Yeah. That's
but
big.
like, there's no way I could have done it without them.
Yeah.
Absolutely none.
I definitely agree. It's traumatizing.
Oh.
Like, even going to get my blood drawn right now, it brings back memories. And I remember even, like you said, driving past or on the way there, like, I get a sick feeling to my stomach.
I can taste the medicine still.
You can taste it.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to throw up.
It feels weird, and it's kind of, like you said, it's traumatizing, kind of brings flashbacks. It's just like, it just sucks, and you have to go through it. And like you said, the endless cycle. Like, how long did you have to do treatments for?
So I was in treatment for 6 months, a total of 12 chemotherapy sessions. That's all, thankfully, I needed. So it was every 14 or 15 days.
Yeah.
I actually caught COVID while I was in treatment.
Wow.
So that kind of like made the timing off. But that was honestly the worst of my, like, thankfully, I experienced some nausea and, but like if you were to look at a movie of someone with cancer, diagnosed with cancer, I felt like I was very fortunate in my, what's the word? Symptoms.
Like
My symptoms, I was fortunate. Like,
yeah,
I was healthier than most.
Right.
But for when I caught COVID, every night for like a week, I didn't think I was going to make it.
Wow.
Cancer, being diagnosed, it sounded like a death sentence, but then we were just going through the motions, whatever. When I caught COVID, every night, I didn't think I would be here the next day.
Dang,
at
that's
all.
crazy.
That was COVID, cancer, not a combination
mixed.
you do not, highly don't recommend.
And it was, way newer. Like, right now, I think if you get COVID, it's a lot more, familiar, opposed to then it was, this pandemic, this very scary type of idea.
Yeah, terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Man, but that's cool. Honestly, your situation is really cool. What I think the first chemo that I did was an ABVD is what it was called, right? And at the time, the doctors gave me a 70% chance to be cured, and I was the 30%. So then after that 6 months of treatment, like, originally I had responded well, and the cancer had gone away a lot, right? Like, it was stage 4 bulky, and then a lot of it had gone away, and then it started coming back, like, the next scan. And so then I did, like, small things of radiation. I eventually had ended up doing an immune therapy treatment that's not even chemo, so it's not like actually breaking down my body. It's like helping my immune system kind of like target the right stuff to target to make sure I'm healthy. And then eventually I had to do bone marrow transplants. Like, I had, like, so that's crazy. Our situation, we had like
imagine.
similar diagnosis, but like way
Different.
like journey with this. So that's wild. How did you deal with like your hair? Like, did you lose your hair?
Oh, yes.
You lost your hair, right?
Yes, I did. This is all fake.
Yeah.
But my hair's actually growing back
Yeah.
now. But that was really crazy
Yeah.
experience, because my hair was like part of my identity growing up.
Right.
It's my crown.
Yeah.
And so I tried to hold on to it as long as possible. Like, some people will choose to cut their hair beforehand so that they don't have to go through that trauma of seeing it fall on the ground or whatever.
Right.
But I, on the other hand, my curls were my
Yeah.
part of my identity, and it kind of makes me sad to think how strongly I held my hair,
Yeah.
because once it was all the way gone, I had a newfound confidence in myself.
Yeah.
But I literally, so the pictures are like really hard to look at, but the hair that I had left, no bigger than like my pinkies of pigtails, and I had a lot of hair. And you could tell I was sick because there's patches, and it looked bad, like something is wrong.
Right.
And I remember we like made it a big thing. I had my parents and my sister and my mom's boyfriend with us, and I was like, so we're gonna do this, because what I have going on is not cutting it. Like, I just need to let go.
Yeah.
And so I had my mom's, he couldn't be there for like the actual cutting of the rest of what I had off. So I had him like cut a little piece of my pigtail off so he could be a part of it. And that part, it was just like, whatever, because it was a little piece. But then my mom cut off the little pigtails that I had. And like, literally my hair was bald, and I don't know how they were hanging on there. But we set up a mirror so I could see. I was like wrapped up in this like shawl that we got in Kenya, and like to empower me and just remind me of like all the children I met there, and who I now call like family. But she cut off the first 2 pigtails, and we're crying like really hard. I have my sister in my peripheral, and then my dad, he was gonna shave like the rest of it off. And I'm just like twitching and moving, just like, I don't want this to happen. And I remember as soon as he started doing it, it was like freedom. I just felt like this relief, like, oh wow, like this is. And I kept looking at myself in the mirror, I started laughing, because to see yourself bald, like, when I've always had these curls, and I'm looking at, like, I look like a filter. But honestly, like, it's weird now. My hair is, I have a nice like afro again.
Like back,
I haven't like seen it outside of braids in a minute, but it's almost to the point like I want to see it back in its original state, but then I'm also like, I kind of want to cut it off. Like, I bet you
That's cool.
I'm like, I kind of miss that.
Right.
Not all the way bald, but
No,
I kind of adjusted to that. Like, it was a new me, like a rebirth almost.
Yeah, that's like a cool feeling.
It really was.
I know for me, like, I'm a guy, so, and some points I didn't lose my hair all the way. Like, some points, especially early on, my hair was just thinner.
Yep.
And I still kind of just kept it. But eventually, the time when I did lose my hair, I was going into the transplant. And so when you go into the transplant, you need to be fully in remission
Okay.
in order for them to clear you for the transplant and to start with that process. And so I had gotten a very intense regimen of chemo and radiation before that transplant. And then I was in the shower actually, and I had got a haircut because my hair was thinning out. So I was like, well, just cut it real low, you know? And then I was in the shower. I was like taking a shower. And I looked down and there's like a whole bunch of hair. Like right, my hair is like super short. Like I just buzzed
You're
it
like,
super
well,
low.
where's this coming from?
So I'm like, what is even going? So then I started like kind of like rubbing my head, and it just like smooth, like all just rubs off. Like my whole head just rubs off bald. Like, so it was like I kind of got my hair cut for no reason. But that was kind of crazy. It was different being bald. I know it was definitely probably harder for you.
It was definitely an adjustment.
Yeah.
And like the showering, I would like I put my hair in like these two little pigtails because showering like, or I guess they were braids barely, with like two strands of hair. But I didn't want anybody to touch it. Because the slightest touch, just whatever was left. And like when I would wash it, I just remember like, ew, I can feel it. It would just come out. And that's not a good feeling at all. No. Like, not fun. I do not miss that at all.
Man, that's crazy. Yeah. Okay, so what were your doctors like? And, like, did you like your doctors? Did you not? Like, how did you navigate that?
So we originally went to this one place. I don't even remember what it's called, but I hated them. I was like, I can't do this. I don't feel safe.
Yeah.
And of all of the things going on, I at least wanted to feel safe. And something was off. I didn't like them.
Yeah.
The energy was just not there. So we went to OHSU for treatment. Yeah. And they were better.
Way better.
My mom will praise them.
Yeah.
I not so much. But like I'm thankful for the treatment and whatever, but I just felt like I was just another number, another patient, or just little thing they had, piece of paper they had to sign to whatever, go throughout their day. So I'm thankful for them, and for their knowledge. But as a personal, I have no, like, if I saw them down the street walking, one, they probably wouldn't even recognize me, even if I was bald and looked like what I looked like during treatment. They probably would just do-do-do, and I would probably do-do-do the other way. Like, and my mom, on the other hand, if she were to see my main doctor, she would probably be like, oh, like, thank you. No.
Right.
You can go talk to him. I'm going to go escape.
That's crazy. Okay.
So.
Wow. I think it's important to have, like, a good doctor, though. And to feel confident in the work that the plan that they have for you.
Definitely felt that, but just like the personal level of it, I didn't feel like the care just didn't feel like, and I was going through a lot of things, so that might have just been something I could be mad at, like be mad about or whatever. But
and I feel like it's hard for them, like. I mean, they have to be, like, somewhat caring people, right? Like, they're doctors, right? And that's their job, right? That's their mission in their life, right? So, like, deep down, like, they're somewhat, they are definitely caring people. But I think it's definitely hard for them to be able to show that, right? And then, like, they're dealing with patients, like, I don't know how many of you they're dealing with, right? And so, imagine that, and then, like, imagine dealing with patients that didn't make it.
Oh, I couldn't even.
You know? And then imagine, right, and we're talking about, like, man, I wish it was more personable. But imagine being, like, a doctor, being super personable, and kind of maybe being attached to a person, like, almost like a friend, like somebody you care for. And, like, you couldn't bring the playing home and you couldn't get it.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
So that's, that's crazy. That's crazy. What they deal with on their level is like insane. I think I got pretty lucky with my doctors. I've had a good track with my doctors. I think we're all have pretty good relationships.
It's good.
They got me through all this. So like you said, like
thankful.
I'm very thankful and really appreciate what they've done. They're cool people. They're amazing people.
And that's partly probably on me because I would try and escape and sleep as much as possible because I didn't want to be there. So I really like.
So part of that, they were part of that you were trying to escape from.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
110%.
Which is,
so.
Right. So there's only so much you can do about that, Okay. So you're in remission now.
I am.
Yeah.
I honestly probably need to go to a checkup.
Get a scan,
I get a scan and my blood work. Trauma and living in a completely different state. I had to find another cancer center in North Carolina now. So that was a big adjustment. That was the first time I had to go by myself to do anything, and that was terrible. I'm crying and I'm fine. But just being alone, it's a scary feeling. People are literally because I look like this going into the cancer center with no one else, and people are literally looking at me like I'm lost. One person was like, "Oh, I don't think you're supposed to be in here." I'm like, I really wish I wasn't supposed to be in here. Thanks. And I got that during treatment too, because at first I still looked healthy enough, and
you're always the youngest.
Oh yeah, and always the youngest. Look fit or whatever for the most part. I would get glares for having my handicap sticker or for using my wheelchair. We went to the zoo one time and people are looking at me like, what is she doing?
Right.
Unfortunately, I need this.
Knew.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't judge you have no idea what people are going through.
Right.
Even if at the beginning I did look fine, or now when I'm going to go to those checkups, there's a reason I'm here, unfortunately. So.
Right. So what was the process like in another state? I know for me, here in Oregon, a lot of I've done some work at OHSU. I have Kaiser, so it's all together and very streamlined. But in Vegas, it sucks.
Yeah.
It's completely trash. Everything is privately done. So I go to my oncologist, I have to go to a different spot to get my scan done, or my biopsy, or anything else, or my blood work. That's not okay. And then so then you have to pay everybody else separately, which is
so it's kind of similar. I actually had a really hard time getting even my stuff transferred. That was hard. And another thing, feeling like just a number, calling my doctors here, they couldn't even find me, and I'm I was just a patient, and they were like, "Are you sure he was your doc?" Yes, I know who my doctor was. Right. So that was another thing to navigate, but transferring all of my stuff, I'm still trying to navigate that. There's a couple breath tests that I still need to do, and things that should have already happened that that haven't happened yet, and I'm it's scary, but at the same time I'm I don't really want to do it. Right. But then navigating through a whole different healthcare system is they don't make this easy at all,
which is interesting.
It should be.
You would think it would be easier.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Even I'm always holding my doctor's office's hands and communicating what needs to be communicated, because
this shouldn't be my job.
It won't get done. Yeah, and that's not even my job. That's their job. And so that's just interesting. Navigating
in the
healthcare in
vulnerable
general.
Time. I need your help.
I need your help. I need to get this done. I need to understand what's going on, and I can't do it without you. And you're just lagging. You don't care.
Feels like they don't care.
Yeah, exactly. And that's wild. That's really wild. So what were some of, like, what was like some of the easiest things that you went through, and what was like some of the hardest things that you went through in like this whole journey, or even that maybe you're dealing with now?
One of the hardest things for me at the beginning was finding out that chemo can cause women to go into early fertility, or not early, early menopause.
Yeah, okay.
And one of like my goals in life is to be a mother. I want
Yeah.
at least 3 babies.
Right.
So to hear that this might take that away from me,
Yeah.
I was like, excuse me, what?
Yeah.
So they wanted me to start treatment like as soon as possible, and I was like, thankfully I had family and friends that had gone through similar things and just the knowledge, and they were like, you should do IVF, in vitro.
Okay.
So I froze my eggs. My mom says that we have 14 grandbabies in the freezer just in case.
Okay, yeah.
So like that was a very hard thing, because at 24, like I have a life to live. I
Yeah.
want to have these children, and you're
Right.
saying, well, you have cancer. You might not be able to do that naturally.
Right.
Like you're crushing me.
Yeah.
You're crushing everything that I know
Yeah.
to be me. And so that was really difficult, but I was like, I'm not starting this until we
Figure this out.
We-
Make a plan.
yes. And so that was challenging, but thankfully we were able to get some viable eggs
Yeah.
to freeze just in case
Yeah.
I need them. Let's see, one of the easiest things, I don't know. I don't know if I can answer that.
It was tough.
Everything
Yeah.
was just, I think like, yeah, I don't know. I can't, I had a really bad brain fog because, well, one, I had the concussion.
Yeah.
Then
and you were
chemo.
doing chemo. Yeah.
Causes brain fog, and then COVID also, COVID brain fog, or what, chemo brain fog. So I had 3 things
Yeah.
cognitively stacked against me, and that was another one of like the most challenging things.
Right.
I couldn't read more than like a sentence or 2.
Dude, I could not read.
Oh yeah,
That's
didn't know.
insane. Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. Like I would look at a garbage can and know that that's where you put garbage. Obviously, I couldn't tell you that it was a garbage can. Oh, can you put that in the thing to get rid of this?
Yeah.
Like, it was like my speech was gone. My mind, like, in a way, I'm a lot more appreciative and grateful for my ability to do all of the things, because I felt like I couldn't do anything at all. Like I couldn't even read a sentence,
Literally.
a paragraph.
Even now, getting up in the morning
A
is
blessing.
amazing, because like going through my transplant, there was mornings when I didn't want to get up. I couldn't. I mean, I guess I could have like tried harder maybe, but like I was just like, I felt like a zombie. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
felt like dead, and like I felt like a vegetable.
Oh,
like
100.
and I'm just like in my bed, just like wouldn't get up. I would sleep into the afternoon. I'm like, I'm just exhausted. I'm just tired, right? And I'm like, man. So then, like, fast forward to now, when I get up, a lot of the times, honestly, I like fly out of bed.
You're like,
Because
I can
it's
do
like
it.
I can do it, and I can get up, and like that, even that like something so little makes a big impact on me and my mind and what I got going on, and it's kind of like motivating. Like, man, there was times when I couldn't get up. Now it's easy. I can just get up. I can just go do whatever I want.
Things that people don't think about. Like,
Right.
I don't wish, like, we shouldn't have gone through what we went through.
Right.
But, like, we're fortunate to experience so low, because now everything, for me at least, is so beautiful. Like, the
Yes.
smallest of things, I'm like, wow. But also, another challenging thing, trying to relate to people our age. That was really hard for me, and that's probably what I'm, like, struggling with now. They don't have the same perspective.
No.
Like, you're complaining about X, Y, and Z, which could be valid.
Right.
But there's
a lot more.
There's a lot more that you, like, just...
Like, I always
breathe.
say, like, well, you didn't die.
Like,
Yeah, I mean,
you're
like,
guilt
seriously.
tripping them. No,
You know?
but, no, I feel you, like, you're complaining about this. Like,
Right.
your life is amazing. Even the thing that you're complaining about is nothing to the fraction
Yeah.
of what could be. Like,
It's not that big of
you
a
have
deal.
so much to be thankful, and you are so blessed beyond measures, and we're talking about this like that.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I try and be positive as much as possible, and I try
Right.
and spread that energy
Right.
when I can.
And I think that's a big deal because it's easy to be negative.
Mm-hmm.
It's way easier to be negative. Kind of like you were saying earlier, like I think it was important through this whole journey for me to always lead by example with my attitude for all the people in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And like it was not only important for them to understand like, hey, like he's doing good and feel confident in that, but it was important for me for them to give me that energy to feel confident in me. And because like you said, like you're dealing with cancer, like that sounds scary, right? And you kind of need like everything you can on your side as possible, right?
Yes.
Like it's war, you know what I'm saying? And so anyway,
You're not prepared for.
yeah, you're not prepared for it. It's just random, right? And so anything I could do to like lead by example and show that like I'm good, like we're good, like we're getting through this, like whatever happens, like I'm gonna be fine. You know, I think that holds weight for everybody else looking on the outside in. Like, oh, well, he's doing good. You know, even almost to sometimes we're just like, well, he's just normal. There's nothing wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I like that. I'd like to feel more normal than that person that's like handicapped and like a burden, or like, oh, we need to help him extra because he's not normal. He has problems. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I like to feel normal. Like I'm very able to do whatever needs to be done. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So how is life different, or how do you maybe think different now that you've gone through and you've actually like pretty much beat cancer? Like what kind of changes do you feel, or do you understand or think differently?
I feel like I've always been a really like positive, happy person, but I feel like it's definitely changed for the better.
Yeah.
Like I try and again exude that energy towards any and everyone. I come across hundreds of people in my job a day. So I try and just be as positive as possible because, again, you never know what people are going through.
Right.
So I try and be that light because there were days where I didn't feel like there was any light. I thought it would be my last day. So I try and go in like, okay, if today is my last day, like, let's make it the best.
Yeah.
Because during treatment, especially when I had COVID during chemo, I didn't think I was going to wake up but I didn't have the energy to do what I wanted to do. So now I'm trying to do those things and take advantage of this life that we have, because obviously there's always going to be something going on, but it's a beautiful life to live. So try and live it to the best of my abilities.
Right. Like I know in this recent time when I had overcome my cancer for the second time and gotten through this second bone marrow transplant, like I started traveling like crazy. Like every weekend I was in California, I was in Atlanta, I was like going home, I was going snowboarding. Like I was doing everything. Like I kind of went a little overboard, honestly, and it was kind of exhausting a little bit. But I was just like so happy to be able to move around and do the things I want to do, and like see people, right? Like I at one point was like isolated with my mom for like a month or two, you know, just like being able to go see my people and go do things with them, like physically, like be able to go do things with them was like really fun for me. I had a great time, and that was like a big turning point for me to like be able to get back. I moved back to Vegas, so once I moved back to Vegas, it was cool, and then I'd been laid off. It kind of sucked. But it gave me good time to recover. I was like looking for a new job. When I had been laid off, in that period, I took a trip to Spain. I'd never been to Spain before, and that was like one of the coolest things I ever did in my life. And so, yeah, once I was able to go, like it was like go time.
Let's go.
Yeah, it was like all in, like it's go time. I was going crazy. Okay.
That's why I'm a flight attendant now.
Yeah.
So
which is so cool.
I was going to school for healthcare. I still have a few more classes left before I graduate with public health. And I was like, well, insurance-wise and stuff, I was turning 26. Like, I turned 25 in treatment, and then 26 is next. But again, I couldn't read. I couldn't do any of the things. Right. How am I going to graduate, get a job within my degree, and be insured? And so I was like, I'm going to do all of the things I didn't think I was going to be here for. Travel. Yeah. Get that insurance. Get that benefit. Right. Get those benefits. And, like, I've been to more places than I've ever thought possible. And I'm just a year in. Yeah. And, like, I feel alive. I mean, it's definitely taxing and it's, like, probably like overdoing it a little bit. But coming from being bedridden or not being able to leave the house, immune system at negative, to I'm outside. Like, I can do these things. And just even, like, it's just amazing. Yeah, that's just really being able to spread your wings and literally, like, because we were stuck in a terrible situation, and like being able to do anything is a blessing. So definitely,
I agree with you on that. When you were going through all this, like, were there any like crazy tests or procedures that you had done, and like, do you have any like battle wounds? Like, do you have any scars?
Not, I mean, I have my, port scar, but we actually, I don't know if you can, you can see it.
I can't even tell,
We, actually got it lower than, like, normal. Okay. And every time they would give me, anything through my port, they were like, oh, this is lower than everyone else. Yes, we did that on purpose, so that it couldn't be seen. But honestly, I'll look at it or touch it because, like, there's some scar tissue, and I'm like, reminded, and it's like near my heart, and I'm like, wow, like I really went through that. Like, I think scars they tell a story. Right. I have my biopsy scar. You can't see it. They did a really good job. And other than that, those are my only two. Yeah, because I only had to do 3 surgeries: the biopsy, my port placement, and then extracting my eggs. Yeah. So for fertility reasons.
Did you keep your port?
No, they wouldn't let me.
They wouldn't let you?
Yes, I know. Isn't that rude? I wanted it.
Wow.
Rude.
That is different.
I kept everything else. Yeah. And they wouldn't let me.
They wouldn't let you keep
I don't
your
know.
port.
Yeah.
I kept my port when I took it out.
I'm jealous. I mean, not that I really want to.
Yeah. I don't ever look at it. It's just sitting somewhere.
Yeah, but it's like.
But like you kept it. Like I kept it.
I wanted to, and I think they like maybe showed it to me, and then they had, I don't know what happened. Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to keep it.
That is crazy. They took that from you.
I know, like,
interesting.
It was mine.
Right.
Annoying. Yeah.
Okay, so just to kind of wrap this up, is there any stories that you would like to share that like really like, I don't know, made a high impact on your journey, or was something that was you would just like to share with us that you went through that happened that like made a really big difference for you? Anything like that?
I don't know. Something that was uplifting but also challenging at the same time. So I decided to share my story on Instagram, like my social media platform. And that was honestly to kind of just like make it real, because yeah, my close family knew, but like I tried to pretend like it wasn't a thing when I posted it to the world.
Yeah.
My 5 followers, whatever it was.
Yeah.
That's real, and
Right.
other people are going to know, and I actually have to deal with this. But
Yeah.
I didn't realize like how impactful me sharing my story would be. And so like I'm really proud of you for doing this,
Yeah.
because it's going to touch people. Like I just did little small like, hey, I just got back from treatment, I'm doing well,
Yeah.
whatever, like little brief like what's going on. And I had 2 in particular young men, well, their parents, I guess, reach out to my mom and I. And these young boys like called me their hero, or like in their households, like in their states away.
Yeah.
But they had found us through hashtags or whatever. And they're saying that they look up to us because they were diagnosed with Hodgkins as well. And I'm like, what? Somebody's, I'm barely,
Right.
what? Like if anything, I'm looking up to them.
Yeah.
But it was just amazing. Like it's a community you never want to be a part of, but once you're in it, it's
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
these
it's pretty
people are,
cool.
because they understand to a different, and we're going through similar things. Like it's just a community
Yeah.
you can't comprehend in words, but once you have them, it's like, oh wow. And to just have someone look up to me in that way, or even these younger boys that were not even teenagers yet, or barely teens, I'm looking up to you like,
Right.
okay, if you can do this, I'm gonna push through,
do
because
Yeah.
I got some years on you, I can do this.
It goes both ways. Yeah.
Like it's, so that was really like unfortunate that obviously they had to go through that, but beautiful that we were connected in that way
Right.
and had each other to lean on.
Yeah.
In sorts.
I think that's cool. Even like you and I able to connect a little bit, and we're like going through very similar things. Like that's helpful.
Very
You
helpful.
know, and like just being able to see like you get through your stuff, and you know, it keeps you motivated, inspired. I tried to share as much as I could, because like you said, it was a little bit of a burden to kind of like those are people that like really care for me. And you know, if they're asking like, how are you doing, you know, like they want to know like, you know, what's going on, like, are you okay, you know. And so trying to keep up with those updates is a little tough. Like I know I did really good until this last transplant. I kind of like shut down
It's
a little bit,
overwhelming.
because it was tough, and I was just in a really bad spot. Like I was super negative. Like I was just kind of going through a lot. Like at that point, I was like hooked up to like 7 IVs. I have my port. I have a line in my arm, a line in my chest. Right? Like I can't sleep because like I'm just like being pumped with drugs and stuff. So yeah, that was a different time, but I tried to do my best to like always keep people in the loop. I think the first transplant I did was like I did a video every day, like day 1, and I would just post something I was randomly doing in the hospital. Day 2, I went through like 25 days or something, just like
I gotta watch it.
posting random stuff about what I'm just doing, like stuck up at OHSU, you know.
But it was important. And
Yeah.
it is important.
Yeah, I think it was good. I also think it was cool to just document, right? Like I just like social media in general, to just document things that will just like be on the web forever. You know, I think it's a cool place to document that and share that, right, with like everybody.
I have like, I don't know what my intentions were. I was scared, honestly. Like the reasons I was recording was I need to give something to as a 24-year-old, what do I have to give to my parents if I
Yeah.
pass away? Nothing. So I'm like, I can document myself
Right.
and what's going on, and if need be, that's what they can have of
Yeah.
me, which it sounds like morbid, but like
Yeah.
that was my process. Like if I'm no longer here, they'll have this last piece of me.
Right.
So I haven't like I posted the little cute little I just made it through treatment post, but like I have some videos that like are really hard to watch of like me not being able to move on the ground, hysterically crying.
Yeah.
But like that was all I had in me.
Yeah.
I have some other like just other videos that I'm like,
Right.
I should probably do something with this now that I've made it past the this
Now
is
that
the
you're
only
here.
thing. Yeah, right? And to show like the progression of this is what I was going through. This is where I am now. Where will I be in a couple of years? So.
Okay. So last question.
Uh-oh.
So how did you feel like when you were like, I don't know, when you got the scan, like you're clear, like your doctor's like you're in remission, like you made it. Like how did that make you feel?
So I responded well at the like kind of in the middle to beginning. So we knew like I was going in the right progression, like the treatment was working.
Yeah.
So they like every blood test it kept getting better. So we were going in the right direction. But when I got like the first or like I don't even remember which clear scan it was, but when I got them, like I remember just sitting there and my mom's like ecstatic, obviously. She's happy, like we're seeing it's not all lit up like it was before. But I'm just like obviously I felt some type of relief, but at the same time I'm like, okay, but this can come back.
It
like I
lingers.
still feel like that's why I have a hard time going to the doctors now, because I don't want it to come. I don't want to see that if it were to be negative again or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
So definitely some sort of relief, but at the same time, I'm just like,
it's like never over.
it looks good now.
Yeah.
Who knows what it's going to look like tomorrow? Like that's kind of, and I don't think that that's really a positive attitude to have, but like that was real.
It's kind of real.
It's scary. Like I had no idea that was going to be my scan in the first place. So yeah, you say it's good now, but I was good a couple, like, so.
Yeah. Well, shoot, we got this far.
We did. I'm proud of us.
Yeah, and if we can get this far, anybody can overcome anything they have going on, whether that's in school, whether that's at work, dealing with relationships, dealing with money. I hope this inspires people to be able to overcome challenges for themselves and to be able to show up for themselves, because some people are in situations where they don't have a choice but to show up for themselves, So, yeah, well, thanks for hopping on the show today.
Of course. Thank you
That's
for having
all we
me.
have on this episode of Beast vs. Zombie. Please go like, subscribe,
That
share,
button right there.
comment below anything you would like to see on an episode of Beast vs. Zombie. And that's all we have. Be a beast.
I just wanna be a boss.